Cool. So I know this is very, very, very long overdue, and one of my sort of resolutions, as it were, this year is to try and get a lot better at these uploads. And I know that, well, this has probably been about 3 weeks. It's going to cover most of January, so maybe it'll be a slightly longer one. I don't know. We'll see. My apologies if I'm a complete mess. I'm a complete state. I have not been very well the last couple of days, but I needed to get something out there, something done. Obviously, I've been sort of very busy and proactive on sort of other aspects and channels sort of going on with sort of TikTok and Twitch. However, obviously, I've not done that much towards YouTube, partly because I think I've slowed down a little bit on the follower aspect side of it, and I want to sort of see that everything is improving and going upwards, and that might not necessarily be doing that in the YouTube scene quite as much at the moment, obviously. Fingers crossed, obviously, that does eventually change. But I was just going to have a quick go through over what was considered most of my January. As I believe last time I spoke with you all, I was based up in Scotland for work. So I was there for several days, having to have an absolute nightmare trying to actually upload anything because the internet where I was located, well, I think it was a very remote-ish area of Scotland, and the Wi-Fi there was also absolutely terrible and shocking, and it took 4 to 5 hours for uploading a 10-20 minute video, which was quite stressful, quite annoying, but there we have it. As obviously, as I've mentioned, up in Scotland was a nice easy job, a little bit slippery, a little bit icy, the actual drive up. It sort of felt like you were in the Millennium Falcon, sort of going at light speed, sort of through blizzards on some of the areas of the roads, particularly when you're getting up past Carlisle. Besides that, the actual site was very easy, very good, and it's probably one of the few times on a site where I've actually been quite happy with some of the people speaking to me, as I'm normally a very grumpy, miserable so-and-so on site that I just want to head down, get on, just focus, channel and get on my work. But everyone I worked, every time I was working a different setup and working through a different area, when people came up, they were actually very polite, very well mannered. And I don't know this that goes the same way for all Scottish counties, particularly towards the fact that I'm an English person. I thought there'd be a bit of hatred and dislike there. Maybe that's just a horrible stereotype, but besides that, it was sort of very easy work, just long drives back, so can't complain too much on that. The rest of that week was in the office, essentially just wrapping up the drawing up side of said job, which obviously not too difficult, as I think we had to get up to a certain standard because it wasn't directly an Ipswich office job, it was the Glasgow office job, and so everything finishes in our department, in our area, shifted off to them to sort of fully wrap it all up, tie everything up, get it all sent and shifted off, which is very, very good. And then after that, I suppose we had the weekend, which was potentially sort of housework and a gym on the actual Saturday itself. And then Sunday was another game at Portman Road, which is always very good and very happy. It was the FA Cup third round against Bristol Rovers, which they ended up winning that one 3-0. Haven't released a TikTok on that if people want to go and watch that. Yes, I was right behind Al Hamadi's dreadful penalty for that. If you got a bit more power behind that, that might have been in danger of hitting me. Don't mind, didn't. That's perfectly fine. My head is still sort of intact, I suppose. After that, I was then on a very big major building survey for a couple of days, which I don't think all of it's been fully drawn up yet, but it's sort of a very sort of large estate, multiple buildings, having to sort of start my days and finish my days sort of being a lot longer, adjust the quality of the scans, the colours, the resolutions, in order to make sure that I've got enough scan data in order to complete the whole site, the whole survey within the actual time frame demanded of me. And then I've always had the Wednesday and the Thursday to start drawing some of those bits up, which wasn't too bad, I suppose. Obviously, like there's two major sort of aspects of measure building surveys. There can be more, but the two main requirements usually are floor plans and building elevations. Now, I think there's a nice pattern in floor plans that you can sort of pick up on. So in my head, when it all fits together, I quite like it and I quite enjoy it. I've got other colleagues that sort of prefer building elevations because of some of the more intricate detail that you can see on the face of a particular building. I'm not as much into that, but I know that they are. So generally speaking, like when I'm working with some of my the people that help me on these projects, I always try to gauge as to what their strengths are and what my strengths are in order to help get the job done, essentially, to sort of help make the best out of said job, to make it easier for them, more enjoyable for them, more enjoyable for me. Win-win for everyone, essentially, isn't it? So from that, I then had another mission building survey sort of near the sort of Colchester area. It was only a sort of a small garage, essentially, sort of not too bad. Managed to wrap that all up within the morning, process that, and start drawing some of that up on said Friday. And then on the Saturday, I was supposed to do some babysitting. I was to help take my nephew to some of his football classes. However, he was a little under the weather, so dominantly he spent most of the time sleeping, except the one time he noticed when I arrived and he sort of wanted to show off some of his new board games to me, which has included a bluey one, which I'm fairly certain we still didn't get the rules right for, and he kept explaining them to me, and I'm fairly certain that was not right. But no, essentially, sort of very easy sort of day because my sister was out with other niece and sort of to the other niece's birthday. Nephew was a bit too small to go, so I was happy to sort of help out where I can. From that, I also then got my first actual paid for haircut since before lockdown. Ever since lockdown, otherwise, I have either been doing it myself, I've been getting friends to do it, I've been getting family to do it, with very mixed results, but it's probably, I think it's a good thing for my morale, my own headspace, to actually get it done properly and actually taking a bit more care and responsibility for myself. Is that something I don't often do, and I'm very, very bad at that. No, that was sort of a nice experience. Now that I know that I've got like good local like hairdressers near me, I'm more confident about going back there again and making that obviously more a very regular occurrence. So that's good. That's sort of a load off. That's sort of not too much sort of stress. From the Sunday after that, there was essentially just housework. There was a little gym, and there would have been my first live on TikTok, which was a sort of a watch along with one of the games on Sky, which would have been the Ipswich Manchester City game. As people know, that did not go very well for Ipswich, so it was a very, very tough one to do, but I had some good interaction with people. I don't feel like I had any awkward, uncomfortable moments during that, which I thought was a win-win. Got several followers, technically got a couple of quid out of it, but that's by the by. So that's it sort of made me feel sort of quite good that that's like a level that I've achieved within TikTok, and that's sort of a milestone I've reached, and that now it's a case of trying to reach those next milestones in the same way that obviously I have been with YouTube. Fingers crossed I'm getting to 50 at some point, because I can also go live on YouTube, which I think sort of several people here would like, and I also would absolutely love as well. If I get everything going live together, it would be absolutely amazing and absolutely incredible. But there we have it for that aspect of things. I think hopefully we'll get it all sorted out at some point soon. Like I say, like, share, subscribe. We need to get those up. From that, I then had a sort of start of the next week. I had a Monday where I was in Norfolk, sort of essentially going through a previous survey to ensure that it had been done to a particular standard, that it was done off of a particular set of control coordinates, as the clients themselves were very particular over potential discrepancies from multiple surveys sort of done within the area, which I know it can get, it felt like to me got a little bit petty over sort of particularly moaning over sort of a few millimetres of on spot levels across the thing when it's soft sort of clayey sort of land, that minute difference, they're complaining it's going to cost thousands. No, it probably isn't, because like you think about the size of machinery and the actual like claws on an actual digger and stuff like that, so you're not really you're talking like rubbish as far as I'm concerned. It's petty, it's silly, it's stupid as far as I'm concerned. But if they've chosen to spend the money, it's not really my job and role to sort of question it too much. But there you have it. It is what it is. And then on the Tuesday, I had a beach survey, which is essentially one I've been to before on a few occasions, going over running levels over the actual land to double check to see whether there has been a shift in the beach, if whether the material has sort of moved on, whether it's been increased, how well that sea defence, sort of the sea defences around it have been holding up, how much sort of an effect the nearby industries have had on said beach and sort of said erosion patterns. I've been there sort of several times before. This was another occasion just to essentially check on the levels of it. I do believe everything is fine there. It's not fading away as of yet, as of the moment. I can keep you posted on that one if I ever go back there anytime soon. And then it would have been a case for the sort of catching up on the work Wednesday to Thursday, sort of drawing everything up, just sort of essentially catching, essentially just catching up with all my drawing. Oh, I forgot to mention something else. It wouldn't have been that Wednesday. It would have been the Wednesday before. I did a track night. Obviously, I've sort of gotten a lot more into my running, or attempting to, sort of trying to train up for doing an inflatable 10k in April. I'd say that I'm sort of just about comfortable with my 5ks now, but I need to build up the strength to do the 10ks. Need to build up my endurance a little bit more, work on my breathing. I've got sort of proper running shoes and sort of something to support and hold sort of phone and keys when I'm sort of running around. And that's just a case of it becoming a more regular pattern, not just sort of some of the odd ones in the morning, but sort of doing the odd ones in the evening and stuff like that as well, which is sort of very good, which I very much enjoyed, and sort of happy that I had sort of several sort of people, sort of colleagues and friends sort of with me whilst I'm doing it. Otherwise, I think I would have really struggled myself. Beyond that, obviously mentioned the work, and then it would have been on the Thursday just gone. I managed to watch the Complete Unknown, which is the Bob Dylan biopic, which I thought was very good. He's sort of a musician that I do really like. I'm someone who got to respect very much. So as a songwriter, he was sort of one of the best. To be honest, that's sort of someone that I didn't know too much about his the insight into his own personal life going forwards. I found that quite interesting, if factually accurate, and it was actually sort of quite a good film, which is hopefully going to lead to sort of more good films down the line, because as I sort of say, potentially it's just based on my own picking and choosing of films, that last year was a really, really bad year for films. Maybe it's just some of the superhero films and those films that I've chosen to watch, not very good at all. But this is a good start as far as I'm concerned, so long may that continue. I do have the Cineworld card still, so I'm still hoping that regularly be using it to see plenty of good films. There's sort of a few I've got lined up in my head that I will want to go and watch sort of in the next coming months, but we'll see through those. I don't know if it's worthwhile me sort of going over the reviews of some of those at some point, but I will leave that be for now. And then it would have been the Friday. Helped a colleague sort of trying to wrap up some of his topographical survey sort of up around sort of the Chelmsford area. He'd obviously done a large amount of work there, so I was essentially just sort of a spare extra body to get things done. I managed to cut off a section there. Hopefully he's managed to get it all fully wrapped up now. I don't think we got all of it done on said day, but we got a good chunk of it done so hopefully that shouldn't be too bad. Should be all good. I suppose the Saturday wasn't too bad. I went to the gym, sort of seeing parenting family. Managed to do my other TikTok live. That would have been the Manchester City Chelsea game. No, I'm not a Manchester City fan, but everyone says it's sort of. I'm going to try and pick what I think is going to be the most interesting, most appealing game of the weekend, and I just think that Manchester City Chelsea was going to be the most appealing one available to me. my bias might shift towards an Ipswich game should there be an Ipswich game on TV at the time, but so be it on that regard. Those regards. I suppose on the Sunday it was sort of a bit more of a relaxed one. It was just gaming, a little bit of gymming. It was another trip to the cinema. See the Andrew Garfield Florence Pugh film, which was more of a girlfriend's choice than mine, which was it was okay. I think it sort of romantic sort of story, bit melancholy. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't bad. Okay, just set the bar there. I think my partner was more intrigued to go and see it based on the actors that were in the film. I could have probably taken or leaving it there, but cinema's always an excuse and a trip for me to have a rather large amount of pick and mix because I do have that sweet addiction. So yes. Then beyond that, my last couple of days, so it'll be Monday, and this is going to be out Tuesday, with me not been feeling very well. So not been very proactive. It's more a case of me just comatose on my sofa, just sticking YouTube on and just essentially just trying to survive and not, well, die. But that should sort of wrap it all up, I think. One of the songs I think got me through the trips up to Scotland, which I think my colleague who was with me at the time sort of really enjoyed as well. So I'm going to recommend it's Jamie Webster, sort of Weekend in Paradise, very upbeat indie track. Obviously been out for a little while. Many of these songs have that I picked, but it's just one that's sort of a bit of an earworm. It's really sort of stuck in my head. Really fun, really good. Something that I hope you enjoy. As for now, I will see you later. I'll try and upload a football video later this week. Thank you very much. Bye for now.